What's the most NSW outfit you've seen that someone actually wore to work? The receptionist at a professional office I worked at thought it was okay to wear an oversized Tupac tee crap with no pants and slippers to the office for her first official day. Overall very confusing because she wore a beautiful outfit for her interview. She can only make an effort for one day. Not quite up to the standards here, but the funniest one I have seen in the last few years was the day we had to sit through ethics and compliance training to be told about not accepting bribes and gifts, and one of my team turned up wearing all branded gear that he'd been gifted from one of his suppliers. Well, for the past 6 years I have been sleeping with him in exchange for discounts on our supplies and Outback Steakhouse gift certificates. A girl I knew wore a see-through mesh top to work without a bra in a call center I once worked at. Oddly enough, she wore it about 3 times before she was eventually pulled up about it. Can't think why. 3 more days of this and I'm gonna get mad. Not my fault this is happening. NSW in a different way. I worked in a law firm with a fairly casual dress code. Jeans and t-shirt were acceptable, but just barely. The legal assistants regularly took documents to the local county courthouse for filing. One legal assistant came in wearing a Frick the Police t-shirt. I wasn't his boss, but I couldn't resist telling him he couldn't wear that shirt to the courthouse. He borrowed a sweater from someone. I would love to see the reactions if they had. Court clerks probably would have laughed their asses off. Playboy bunny outfit. I was a server at a semi-nice casual restaurant that was frequented by business people. It was Halloween and we were encouraged to wear costumes. One of our hostesses wore this and our manager didn't flinch until a customer complained. One butthole always has to ruin casual day at work. On Valentine's Day, a new hire dressed like Cupid. He wore a white shirt decorated with red hearts and a white tie with a large heart on the center of it. Then, his pants were also white, but with angels going up and down the legs. Everyone loved it, especially the female employees. But his supervisor told him to go home and change because it was a distraction. I am so glad he didn't dress how I assumed when I read Cupid. I was picturing a grown man wearing an adult diaper with angel wings and a compound bow. Not really NSW, but not really for work either. Had a client coming in and the office manager told everyone to please dress very nice. A girl came in dressed in her prom dress. That's kind of adorable. One of the agents I was teaching in a call center wore a dress so low cut and so short that when she moved the wrong way I saw everything. Another girl liked wearing corsets to make her boobs spill out of her shirt and hoodies that said inappropriate things like blow me. She couldn't understand why HR kept pulling her in for meetings. Hospice central office. Secretary is looking to catch some doctor. Fishnet stockings. Skirt that shows the bottom of her butt. No underwear. Maybe a G-string. MD comes in and states, "What? Is this a strip club now?" I about fell out of my chair. Catch some doctors. Fishnet. P. Second-hand story from my husband, but a guy on another crew wore a 2-piece safety suit instead of the 1-piece like he was supposed to for the job. He slipped and fell on his butt in some caustic waste. Since it was a 2-piece suit, it was able to leak into his suit and he AHD to basically run out of the job, strip down naked, and have co-workers pour vinegar all over his lower half, including down his butt crack and on his junk. So remember, if you work a safety job, don't ignore the required gear. Sometimes the required gear seems silly, but they require it for a reason. Accidents happen and in a worst case scenario, proper gear should save you. Sounds pretty basic. One girl wore a pair of black leggings that were so thin you could see the color and pattern of her underwear from 50 feet back. I remember when footless tights, as in pantyhose, were in fashion a while back. It wasn't too rare to see someone who'd picked up a pair thinking they were opaque leggings. I worked for an instrument supplier and was installing equipment at a customer site. Pharmaceutical company. It was around Halloween and Hugh Hefner had just died. Lots of employees were going around, including in the lab space, dressed like Playboy bunnies. Not that their outfits were that skimpy, especially those who were in labs, but it was still weird seeing a bunch of scientists at work in bunny ears, boaties, and cottontails paying tribute to Playboy. Gender was not specified here, so I'm imagining that all the employees look like Danny DeVito, but with a lot more body hair. Smoking a stogie. I'm enjoying the mental image. When I was doing my teaching internship, the second grade teacher next door wore a leather miniskirt with black fishnet stockings. It was questionable, to say the least. No tea and butt here, but many moons ago I worked for Royal Mail as a postman. Had a new hire that came into work wearing high-heel platform boots. She didn't come back the next day because she didn't seem to understand that those items of footwear are not conducive to the amount of walking posters do, and managed to knacker her ankle. Also complained that carrying bags and putting mail through letterboxes was damaging her nails. Never saw her again. Sometimes you really have to wonder what the frick goes through people's minds. Wasn't a job but a job interview. I was doing a remote interview via Skype and the woman being interviewed was driving a car. She was so obese and she propped her phone up against the speedometer so she could use both hands to drive. When she set up the phone it was clear that she was wearing a very large and loose tank top with no bra and big butt sunglasses. At one point she asked me to wait and I said sure, until I realized she was ordering food in the Wendy's drive-thru. When I called her out on it she tried to pick up her phone and dropped it between her legs. This is the moment my team led and I saw her bare vagina. I just hung up and threw her resume away. I'm cracking up at the thought of putting on a tank top and no pants or underwear and hopping in the car for my job interview. Wendy's run. This lady is going places, and most of those places are Wendy's. I saw a PA wearing a full-on Piactra schoolgirl uniform and walking up and down the office over and over. All the men were acting like dogs watching tennis on TV. Halloween party one year and a guy I worked with came in dressed as a cowboy and his technician, who he was having an affair with and was 20 years younger than he was, came in as a very scantily clad Native American. Yike. Call centers on the weekends. There was one Saturday it was like all the girls on the team came straight from a lingerie party. One girl was wearing a lace teddy with lace boy shorts. I mean there was just enough pattern to keep the bits mostly covered. On the other end of the spectrum someone wore a bathrobe to work one day. We weren't sure if there was anything under it. I worked in a very stuffy, old, and famous law firm. Last year on Halloween a very attractive young female attorney came in wearing a skin-tight black cat suit with cat ears on. It didn't show any skin, but it didn't need to. She was clearly not wearing a bra and her nipples were very visible. So was the fact that she was wearing a lace thong underneath. This was the kind of office where men wore ties every day and women wore skirt suits or pantsuits at all times. Nobody said anything to her as far as I know, but it was whispered about for a while. I try very hard not to sexualize my co-workers, who are all brilliant and accomplished lawyers and not objects of fantasy, but that costume made me ask why not both? We had a human resources manager that would wear sheer white dress shirts to work. Her nips were dark as heck and you could see them across the room through the shirt. In the sun, you could almost see through the shirts. This started a few months after the sale of the company to another firm. They moved their own people into top management positions. A month or two into the wardrobe change, the general manager made an inappropriate pass at her. She sued and was awarded close to 10 years worth of her salary. Clever. In times of uncertainty she made her future just significantly more secure. This one woman just skipped on panties sometimes. She wore a skirt every day, working in bookkeeping so people were rarely there, but every once in a while I'd notice and try not to look. Go to air out the bits. When I was in college working for our student government, one of my co-workers showed up in tights that were so small you could clearly see every outline of her vagina. Not to be graphic but she was a small girl, with a larger area, there was a lot to notice. Our boss told her to go home and get changed. She got her back up about shaming. What preceded was an embarrassing hour-long meeting with her, our boss, the student government president, the dean, our internal ombudsman and legal counsel. Like, on the spot. It was in an office, which didn't have good soundproofing so I heard the whole affair. She sounded willing to concede defeat after 5 minutes, but that crap kept going. I wasn't even involved nor had to deal with any of it, but listening to it gave me chest palpitations from second-hand embarrassment. Girl where I worked came with a cut t-shirt, showing her side breasts and wearing no bra. Manager came and told her to go home and get changed so she wouldn't catch a cold. Not quite the frisky response you're looking for, but I think it fits the question. Recently at work, one of our vans decided it didn't want to start. It being a brand new Dodge ProMaster, we decided it would be best for the dealership to figure it out. We called and a big flatbed tow truck was dispatched. The tow truck arrived and the driver hopped out wearing slip-style sandals. I would assume a job where you deal with heavy machinery all day would require boots, but who knows. Fast forward a month and I am getting gas at the gas station down the street from my office. I look over to the next pump and who do I see? That same tow truck driver filling up the tank on his tow truck. He was still wearing that same pair of sandals. I left in a hurry after watching him light a cigarette as he pumped his gas. No, that fits perfectly. It's amazing how some people just seem to coast through life on a cloud of dumb luck. Military 05 Army LTC, wearing thin spandex with no underwear and skin-tight tanker's top while on the job in a deployed location. She didn't last the rotation. LOL. I had 03 show up to payday activities braless and brief the whole company with her very prominent nipples on full display. Months later she would walk around the bee huts in spandex volleyball shorts and sports bras. Turns out she was married to a SF major, so couldn't be touched. Elderly black man showed up in booty Jean shorts on the first day of summer. Wore suits like George Jefferson the rest of the year. He retired soon after. Edit. I used to work in a call center office. Nothing about our job dealt with the outdoors. There's an elderly black man in my neighborhood who always wears a suit, except for one time when it was 105F where he wore a polo and khakis instead. That was unusual enough that I told my roommate about it. I see this guy pretty much every day. I just imagined that dude in booty shorts. Thank you for that. Worked in call centers for many years. Seen a few. Lots of poor choices. Current employer is awesome. And the dress code is basically no pajamas, no visible underwear, and if you stink, we have showers. Use them before work. Neon hair, piercings, tattoos. It's all good. C-level management has been known to run around in shorts and t-shirts. The CEO does press conferences wearing jeans. Casual is absolutely fine. Company also pays very well. Has good benefits. Great work environment. I'm constantly surprised by the number of people who abuse the system and push the rules. Saw one newish hire recently wearing a strapless tube top, no bra, a super tight mini skirt, no panty lines, and stripper boots. Raised an eyebrow, wondered how long she would last. There seems to be an inverse relationship between the NSW-ness of the new hire's outfit and their ability to actually do the job. I mean, she wasn't technically violating the dress code. No visible underwear. Sigh. One of the older men, getting near 60, wore short shorts. Some women complained about his varicose veins being unsightly. He was asked to go home and change as knee-length shorts were okay, but not short shorts as stated in the terms of dress down day. His response was to comment about someone's turban not being mentioned in the terms either. He was a team leader. Sir, you can't wear booty shorts. Well then I get to see his hair. The very attractive intern showed up on casual day wearing a sheer top. Wasn't too bad, but you could clearly see both nipple piercings. Intern was a guy. A whole new group of people were suddenly interested in working with said intern. We had a temp working at our donation bay thrift store. The first week she was dressed appropriately, sneakers, jeans, t-shirt, but was vocally concerned that the work was going to ruin her good clothes, and she was waiting on her paycheck to purchase work clothes. The day her check came, she was over the moon shopping for clothes, but as I was ringing her out, I noted they were all work inappropriate, filmy, low cut, rude slogans, etc. Whatever. I thought, maybe these are her new good clothes and the jeans were now her work clothes. Nope. Came in the next day in spangly short shorts, bejeweled flip-flops, a gauzy shirt that was way too tight, and a half shirt over it that said I don't G care. I love that she bought all this stuff from the thrift store and then wore it to work there. I used to work as an intern in a classic corporate office, and one of the manager who used to wear tops with huge cleavages showed up with leather pants which front side and backside were pierced with 1-inch holes and tied together with ribbons. There was cleavages, and they were huge. Topless. I'll explain. I walked in on the very attractive 19-year-old receptionist while she was examining her big breasts. They were completely out there as she had pulled her top to her waist. I told her to put those away and she giggled and apologized. Was she in a private room, break area, or all gender bathroom? Nope. This was at the front desk and a client could have walked in at any moment. Before that job she was a stripper at a full nude strip club. She seems nice. This lady had a full professional business suit. Everything nice and proper, except the shirt. Her black patterned shirt was semi-transparent and she didn't wear a bra. It's possible she didn't realize it was semi-transparent. I've had a number of shirts where I didn't realize you could see my bra through them until I wore them in different lighting. I worked a fence building job and my boss hurt his toe, so was supervising with one steel toe boot and one sandal. Since he could barely walk he wasn't really doing much, so he wasn't like in danger of anything, but it's still weird to see a guy with sandal on at a job site with thousands of pounds of wood and concrete. One time this temp wore leggings that were dang near see-through. Like IDK if she knew, but her stuff was all out there for people to see. LOL, she was sent home that day and never came back. Username checks out. Newly qualified teacher, 24YO, hot as heck, wore a Halloween style stripper schoolgirl outfit to my all boys secondary school on non-uniform day once. It was utter chaos. 500 hormonal as frick teenagers literally howling and running out of classes to come and see. The head of department basically ended up locking her in an empty classroom and closing the blinds, leaving her on her own for the rest of the day as he couldn't get her safely to the car park for her to drive home. She didn't come in for the rest of the week and left the following term. Hi, Miss Kemp. Maybe she was low-key trying to play out a fantasy. Not quite NSW, but I had a guy come in for his interview for a position that would require him to operate heavy machinery in a t-shirt that said caution. I did dumb things. There was that time the dude ran in the NFL combine and his dong fell out. It's not my job, but it doesn't get any more NSW than running a 40-yard dash in spandex with your dong flopping in the wind in front of NFL officials, other participants, and ESPN's camera crew. At a corporate attorney's office, new hire assistant in a mini skirt and no panties. She didn't last the day. Plus, she snail trailed the office chair. We just got rid of it. Freaking LOL with the snail trail. Grey hee hee heezy. I recently organized a conference with industry vendors. One of the vendors' sales reps showed up, 7 months pregnant, in a dress that would have already been too short had she not been pregnant. It looked like she forgot to put on pants. The look was completed with a weird shawl, bolero and heels that were on the high side at the best of times, but must have been torture for her in the 3rd trimester. The woman was old enough to know better, i.e. mid-30s. People showing up to work without steel-toed boots, showing up with either jean shorts, cargo shorts, or gym shorts, showing up with sleeveless shirts. These are all against OSHA safety standards in construction. Suffice to say, I don't let these folks onto job sites. I don't care if you're the owner of the future building. You're a safety hazard and an insurance liability that can cost me thousands upon thousands of fines. I'm looking out for your safety at that point. Worked for a GC. One kid refused to wear a hard hat once the building was sealed and all work was interior. The super hit him, very gently, with the bottom of his glass Coke bottle. Kid inevitably said ow and the super just said, now imagine a hammer. Not to work, but my trade school uniform was a black polo shirt with black pants and black shoes. One girl showed up in a swimsuit and then tried to fight everyone on it by saying that it wasn't a swimsuit because she doesn't swim. She dropped out not too long afterward. Your boilerplate women's two-piece swimsuit is essentially underwear made of a material that can get wet without being damaged, so if it isn't a swimsuit it's practically just underwear. I'm not sure what point she was trying to make. While I back in 8th grade, there was a slightly overweight unattractive teacher who, for whatever reason, wore a very short leather skirt with fishnet stockings and a tight very low cut sleeveless top. To top off the look, she wore leather high heel boots. Needless to say, walking into class seeing a teacher wearing that was uncomfortable to say the least. Not too crazy. I worked as a day program manager supporting adults with disabilities. One of my staff members, A woman in her 50s came in wearing pajama pants one day. They were the holiday themed ones that have the typical Christmas sweater style print. Pajama pants are not approved dress code, but they weren't a big deal to me. I just told her not to wear them again. Then halfway through the day I noticed the holiday theme print actually was a marijuana leaf. I pointed that out to her and she just laughed it off. I smoke often, so I wasn't offended. I just couldn't understand why she thought that would be appropriate to wear to work. A rather beautiful co-worker wore some jeans with a large split in crotch. She was either commando or G-string too. I was just on the edge of being friendly enough with her to be like, hey, your pants split about halfway through the day. She just smiled and said, yeah, I know, and winked. I knew a woman who did therapy work with sex offenders. She wore knee-high black high-heeled stripper boots to work as her usual footwear. I always thought it an odd choice. Well, she was the first test to check if they were rehabilitated. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.